So today we're going to talk about how to turn any gun into a hit scan weapon, or at least be able to understand how the hit scan mechanics work, because they're pretty important and a huge discovery that was made by Exclusive Ace and then also confirmed by True Game Data for Warzone. So normally how hit scan works is pretty much if you have a player here and they shoot their weapon here and then there's another target over here, if it's hit scan, that means the second you pull the trigger, the millisecond you pull that trigger, the bullets, even though it hasn't left yet, it's already registered as hitting the target. That's essentially hit scan. And this could be at 10 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters. It could be whatever. That's how COD used to function for a long period of time. I believe in BO4, they went and changed the mechanics a little bit, but then they added a projectile system to become more realistic and then actually make it in tune. And the discovery Exclusive Ace made was that there's a line here, depending on the weapon's bullet velocity, combined with the tick rate of the servers, which is a 20 tick rate for Warzone, that makes it so that up to an imaginary threshold, the gun will be hit scan. And then everything after that, it turns into projectile. So it's pretty straightforward. They both have videos of this, which I will link in the description. If you want a thorough breakdown of the multiplayer explanation as well as the Warzone one. But I wanted to go ahead and simplify it for you because of this 20 tick server and kind of explain a few different things. Back in Warzone 1, we used to have bullet velocities that hovered around 1,000 to 1,400. If it was under 1,000, it was considered kind of a terrible one. I think we had the AMAX right around 900 and it was still in the meta at that time. So it's kind of something to keep in mind. You're like, well, what the heck does that mean? It means that the bullet velocity is going to determine it, whatever the bullet velocity is. So in this case, you can see the bullet velocity is 480. Because the tick rate on the servers is 20 hertz, you divide this by 20 and you end up with the imaginary hit scan line that is 24 meters. So what will happen is if a gun has terrible bullet velocity, it will feel good up to that imaginary line in terms of hit scan. You don't have to lead the target or anything. It just imagine that the millisecond the trigger's pulled, it's hitting the target. And I think this is why Warzone 1 felt better in a lot of ways, because if you have a gun that has 1,400 bullet velocity, that means that your hit scan range is around 70 meters, which is a significant difference compared to a lot of the meta weapons that we have now, which hover around 900 to 1,000. And 900 has kind of been that sweet spot that I've been talking about for Warzone 3. And there was no really justification beyond it. Just feels good at that range. But it turns out that 900 muzzle velocity cuts down to 45 meters. So if you're challenging a target up to 45 meters, it will be hit scan. SVA has great bullet velocity. Even if you can add on another muzzle, you can actually push that out further. But this is a 50 meter hit scan range. So everything within that, when you're pulling the trigger, it's already assuming that you're getting the bullet reg. It doesn't matter what the bullets are doing, you're getting the bullet reg where that is instantaneously of where those crosshairs are without the spread. So if you can push this out as far as possible, and the target is within that range, the bullets are going to be hitting instantaneously. The DG LSW is another one that's really solid as an LMG. It's gotten some buff recently to kind of stand in the forefront. They already went and botched the conversion kit, so that's not really all that great. But this kind of gives you a little bit of perspective. Up to 60 meters, this gun is going to be hit scan, so that again, when you pull that trigger, instantaneously it's hitting the target. Where it gets a little bit interesting is your close range options. A lot of them are kind of hovering around the 27 meter range because they've set on their bullet velocity being around 500, which isn't great, but that's an okay number. I believe we used to have rifles sit around 600 as their base, but a lot of the attachments would buff it up to 900, then 1,000, and then 1,400. And that's kind of where like the Grau sat when it was peak meta in Warzone 1. And then we get stuff like the MCW with the conversion kit, which lowers this down to 480. And then there's other guns that just have terrible bullet velocity. So even though they felt like they killed quick in the past, they have terrible bullet velocity. You can see right here is 300. And then that brings us down to 15 meters. Anything beyond that, you have to account for bullet velocity, which means that at that imaginary line, it creates a little bit of a desync. Why the 900 ends up being so important is because when I tested ranges that are most common for an engagement with the long range weapon, it hovered right around 45 meters. So if you have anything above 900, you're going to be above that 45 meters and guns will have hit scan at that range. And even though I said all you do is divide it by 20, exclusive ace, put this little spreadsheet there. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Again, I'm leaving links to both of these videos. You want to check them out. Let me know if you think this will change some of your decision making when it comes to bullet velocity and what's going to be the magic number for you. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.